أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Dear brothers in Islam, today I am going to talk about a very important spiritual aspect of Quran Hakim, and I am going to recite verse number 122 of Surah Al-An'am, which is the 6th surah of Kitab-e-Aziz. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying in this verse, أَوَمَنْ كَانَ مَيْتًا فَأَحْيَيْنَاهُ وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُ نُورًا يَمْشِي بِهِ فِي النَّاسِ كَمَنْ مَثَلُهُ فِي الظُّلُمَاتِ لَيْسَ بِخَارِجٍ مِنْهَا كَذَلِكَ زُيِّنَ لِلْكَافِرِينَ مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. Is then he who was dead in spirit, and whom we thereupon gave life, and for whom we set up our light, whereby he might see his way among men, is then he like one who is lost in deep darkness, out of which he cannot emerge? But thus it is, goodly seem all their own doings to those who deny the truth. Let us concentrate on this in this ayah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this verse has drawn a parable between a person who has got a faith on Allah, on his apostles, on the Allah's book, and also on the day of judgment, to the person who is faithless. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Avaman kana maitan. So consider a person who was spiritually dead, meaning who hasn't got a faith, who hasn't got the consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inside him. He doesn't believe in Allah, he doesn't believe in the messengers of Allah, he doesn't believe in the day of judgment, he does not have faith on the messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Avaman kana maitan. So the person who is considered a person who was spiritually dead. Fa'ahyaynahu. Then we gave him life, the life of faith. Waja'alna lahu nuran. And we set up for him nur, light, guidance. Nur is an attribute name of Quran Hakim. I will talk about this in detail in coming talks. But today I'm going to concentrate on this ayah. وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُ نُورًا. And we have placed for him the light, the guidance. يَمْشِي بِهِ فِي النَّاسِ. And he walks in men with the help of this light, with this guidance. And he does those deeds which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has asked him to do, and he avoids all those deeds which Allah ta'ala has enjoined on him not to do. So he is following the path of taqwa. Kamam masaluhu fi zulumati laysa bi kharijin minha. Can he be comparable to a person who hasn't got a faith and he is lost in deep, deep darkness from which he cannot come out? Kazalika zuyyina lil kafirina ma kanu ya'malun. In this way, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, goodly seem all their own doings to those who deny the truth. Now I am going to recite verse number 24 of Surah Al-Anfal, which is the 8th surah of Quran Hakim, where the same spiritual aspect of Kitabullah and Allah's message has been discussed. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu stajibu lillahi walir rasuli iza da'akum lima yuhyikum wa'lamu أن الله يحول بين المرء وقلبه وأنه إليه تحشرون. O you who have attained to faith, respond to the call of God and the apostle whenever he calls you unto that which will give you life, and know that God intervenes between man and the desires of his heart, and that unto him you shall be gathered. Let's have let's ponder on this verse of the Kitabullah. Here the address has been made to the Mu'mineen. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu. O people who have attained to faith. Astajibu lillahi walir rasuli iza da'akum. So whenever you receive Allah's and his messengers call and invitation, respond, acknowledge, answer. Lima yuhyikum, so that you may be given life. The life is a spiritual awareness of right and wrong, and the ability and the will to act accordingly. Wa'lamu, and remain knowledgeable, be conscious, consider this fact. أن الله يحول بين المرء وقلبه, that Allah intervenes between a man and whatsoever which is going in his heart. If we can establish that level of belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if we can develop that strength of God consciousness inside us, that is the only thing which can guide us and which can help us to do all the goodness, to practice all the goodness which we have been asked to do, and abstain from all the evilness which comes in our hearts. If we can develop that level of faith that Allah is intervening, Allah is present between a person and whatsoever is going in his heart, that Allah is watching, Allah is there. That level of God consciousness alone can prevent man from falling into the traps of shaitan. وَأَنَّهُ إِلَيْهِ تُحْشَرُونَ, and that unto him you shall be gathered. And if we can keep that very fact in our hearts every time, that we will be gathered, all the humanity will be gathered in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the day of judgment, that will surely prevent us doing bad things or fall into the traps of shaitan, and guide us to do and practice all the goodness which we have been prescribed to do. I'm going to finish today's talk with the recitation of the verse number 70 of Surah Yasin, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing one of the purpose of the bestowal of Quran Hakim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, لِيُنْزِرَ مَنْ كَانَ حَيًّا لِيُنْزِرَ مَنْ كَانَ حَيًّا وَيَحِقَّ الْقَوْلُ عَلَى الْكَافِرِينَ, to the end that it may warn everyone who is alive of heart, and that the word of God may bear witness against all who deny the truth. So this Quran Hakim is a source of warning, is a guidance to everyone who has a spiritually alive heart. And the second component of this ayat says that the word of God will bear witness against all who deny the truth. May Allah Ta'ala, subhanahu wa ta'ala, grant all of us that the highest level of spiritual awakening of our souls, that we are conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala 24 hours, and we practice our lives in the light of God consciousness, which has been talked of this Quran Hakim, that Allah intervenes between a man and whatsoever comes in his heart. May Allah forgive me if there is any shortcoming in the delivery of message, and may Allah also help me in establishing in myself that level of God consciousness, and also in the listeners. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا واخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين رب اغفر وارحم وأنت خير الراحمين جزاكم الله خير.